Hello, hello. I am Laren with Yellow Umbrella Yoga. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope that the tools I'll share here in just a few moments will be really helpful for you to return to at your ease. Anytime that is useful for you to just take a few minutes to yourself and practice a little bit of self-care, and that can have a positive impact on maybe your projects or your relationships or just your daily life and the thoughts that flow through your head as you think about yourself. So thanks for being here. Take just a moment to set the scene and set yourself up for success. So make your space as comfy and secure as you're able, wherever you are. You might be in a workspace, whether at home or in an office. You might be in a car or at an airport while traveling, or just like I am here at your home office in front of your desk or your laptop. Wherever you are, thanks for taking a few minutes for you. Maybe close a door if you have some work going on. You might like to mute some notifications or close some tabs, minimize some things that could be distracting. Maybe let those around you know that you're going to take a few minutes to yourself and you'll be available again soon. Maybe put up a do not disturb sign, get some water, anything that feels good to you to set up your space so that you can focus on yourself right now. So pause here, take that time. You can continue listening as you get settled. Maybe get any wiggles out before you try to sit still for a few minutes. I will practice the same with a quick sip of water myself. So as you're getting settled, maybe bring your hands together, palms and fingertips touching, rubbing them, creating a little bit of warmth. My fingers are a little chilly, so this is kind of a nice warm up. And now we're going to begin just some very light, very gentle tapping on the back of our head. So bring maybe just a couple of fingertips from each hand, or you can play with more, just sort of drumming them at the base of your skull or at the nape of your neck. And this isn't a very tough tap or a hard knock. It's a very soft and gentle sort of drumming. And begin to bring those fingertips as you're tapping them over the top of your head slowly. So coming up towards your crown. Might sound like tiny little horse hooves running through a pasture in your head. And start to do this around your hairline, kind of right at the edge of your forehead and temples. It might feel good to close your eyes. There's lots of nerve endings in our scalp, and we're just sending some soothing messages to our nervous system. Maybe just use one hand now or a couple of fingers and just lightly tap the space between your eyebrows. Maybe kind of in a circle or playing with a little closer to between your eyes or a little higher up on your forehead, wherever feels good. And you can alternate between one hand and two and try tapping just above your eyebrows and kind of around to your temples. Maybe now just one finger on each side, lightly tapping underneath your eyes, kind of noticing the edges of your eye sockets. Think about the skull that is inside of your face, kind of giving you the shape that you take, making your pleasant face uniquely yours. And begin to tap now on your jawline, kind of underneath the corners of your cheeks, and even on your chin, and up kind of around your smile lines, maybe on your cheekbones just a little bit. Just kind of feeling all the corners of your face. And also right above your top lip. Just a few taps here. And now bring your fingertips to your collarbone and sort of just drum across your breastplate there, across your chest space, back and forth, left to right. And I'll scoot back a bit so you can see me. Now bring your right hand around to your left ribs. I like to use my right shoulder as kind of a resting place for my left arm, so it's out of the way. And just sort of tap. You can even kind of curl your fingers and do like some very soft knocking sort of on your rib cage there, just underneath your left shoulder. Almost like you're burping a baby. If there's a tiny human in your life, you might know what that's like. It's a very gentle movement. Switch sides. You can rest your right hand on your left shoulder and reach around to your right side rib cage with your left very soft fist. And just give some light pats there. If you hum to yourself, you might hear a little bit of that kind of rhythmic beat in your own voice from this soft tapping. Nice work. Maybe take a moment to just notice how you feel, if that brought you a little more energy, or if you're feeling a little calmer than you were just a few minutes ago. And now I'll invite you to bring your fingertips to your forehead and just support it as you begin to look at your lap. So use the strength of your hands and arms to support the weight of your head, the weight of your face. As you look down in front of you, and just let the muscles on the back of your neck be long. And they shouldn't be doing any work here, as you're giving them the support they need for that big, smart skull to resist gravity without having to strain those muscles at all. Just give yourself that support. When you're ready, use your hands to lift your face back to neutral. Maybe think tall thoughts for just a moment. I'll invite you to bring the palm of your right hand to your cheek or your left. It doesn't matter which side you start on, you choose. And same thing, begin to support the weight of your face as you just lengthen the left side of your neck and let your head become heavy towards your right shoulder. There's no right or wrong range of movement here. Just as far as feels good, letting your hand support your head. And then lift it to neutral when you're ready. Other side, maybe inhale as you bring your left hand palm to touch your left cheek on your face. And begin to support the weight, just bringing your left ear towards your left shoulder. Notice if the side is different, that's okay. Maybe notice the temperature of your hand on your face, the temperature of your face on your hand. Exhale softly, completely if you haven't. And inhale again as you lift your face back to neutral. And exhale where you are. Now I'll invite you to bring your right fingertips to your left shoulder. And maybe just use 2 or 3 fingers to lightly press on kind of the long muscle that runs from the base of your neck all the way to kind of a little, what am I trying to say? A little V in your musculature where your collarbone, clavicle here comes together with the back of your shoulder. And begin to just press with those 2 or 3 fingers, maybe make small circles. This can be slow, and you decide how firm or gentle feels good for you today. You might kind of do slow drumming with those fingers, kind of rolling the muscle a bit. Just bringing some softness to that trapezoid. Notice your breath. Notice if you're holding it. That's okay. Just let it go, and continue to let more breath in, filling up fully, exhaling completely, enjoying the softness here while you're just being really sweet to yourself. And when you feel complete with that side, maybe rest your right hand in your lap and bring your left hand to your right shoulder or whichever side you're working on. And same thing, just pay attention to the feedback that muscle gives you as you begin to softly press on it with 2 or 3 fingers. Notice if the side is different than the other. You might find some spots that are a little tougher or even feel kind of crackly, and that's okay. This little momentary movement to kind of massage that muscle can help with that here and there. You might do this in the shower while you're letting your shampoo sit in your hair for a minute, or in between meetings. Maybe you're somebody who sits in video calls a lot on Zoom, and just a little 30-second sweetness in between could do a lot of good for any tension that forms in that musculature. If you're making little circles with your fingertips, maybe try reversing the direction, clockwise to counterclockwise or vice versa. Just kind of moving things around in a slightly different way. And when you're done, you can rest both hands in your lap or continue for as long as you'd like. I'll invite you now to just bring your fingertips up to your earlobes and just gently press your earlobes together between your fingertips. So maybe between your index finger and thumb tip on both sides. This might be a little difficult if, like me, you have earphones in. So you might try alternating sides. See if that feels nice. Again, being gentle, not trying to squish them, just give them some light pressure. If you have earrings on like me, you might just notice some sounds, maybe a little jingling or any other sounds that come to your sensation while you're rubbing your earlobes just for a moment. Nice work. Now let's give those wrists some love. A lot of us work at keyboards or computers a lot of the day now, and it can be good to help prevent some carpal tunnel syndrome and create some space in the wrists. We'll invite you to put out one hand extended long in front of you, kind of like a little stop sign. And with your other hand, bring your fingertips to connect and just gently pull your fingertips back towards your face on that extended arm. Again, let this be gentle. If you feel any kind of twinge or pulling that it's unpleasant or painful, you can just back off. Your range of motion may look totally different from mine. You might not be able to see it at all, or your elbow might not be totally straight. These are all okay and acceptable. Take whatever shape your body wants to take today. Hopefully you're feeling some length between your elbow and your wrist, maybe even into the palm of your extended hand. And release that, maybe exhale there. Let that hand sort of softly fall forward. Those fingers can be relaxed. And reach for your index finger and just give it a slight tug towards the floor, resisting it with your lifted arm, maybe getting a slight stretch over the top of your wrist. Continue to breathe and move along, doing the same tugging motion on each finger individually. So your middle finger next, your ring finger after that. And last but not least, your little pinky finger. I'll turn your hand on its side so your thumb points towards the sky. You can reach with your opposite hand for that thumb and slightly gently tug it towards your face as well. Getting a nice stretch kind of between your thumb and your index finger, maybe making your palm feel a little wider. Maybe make a soft fist and take a few circles, noticing any crackles or sounds in that wrist. They're all okay. And same thing, other side. Make that stop sign, extending the other arm out in front of you. Again, your elbow may not be perfectly straight. It can have a little bend in it. We're just going for length here. And same thing, your fingertips may not point all the way to the ceiling. They may only go a little ways. That's okay. Same thing, just give them a slight and gentle tug with your opposite hand, bringing them towards you any amount. Take a nice, deep, nourishing inhale breath here. Maybe get a little taller as you do so. Exhale. Completely letting that breath go. And as you release your air, also release your hand. Let those fingertips relax towards the floor. And use your opposite hand to tug gently on your index finger towards the floor, touching the opposite side, the top side of your wrist. Continue to breathe, giving each finger its own attention. You can also bring it slightly towards you if you'd like to. You can also tug it straight down. You choose what feels good for you. Nice work. When you're finished, make a soft fist again. Make those circles, noticing any crackles, snaps, pops, whatever might be happening that feels hopefully okay. And if it doesn't, then do what feels right and stop. All right, I will meet you back a little closer to the screen here. And check my notes. And let's give our hands just a little bit of love. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit of space in both wrists. And also I'm remembering we left out the thumb on that opposite side. So if you didn't, go ahead and give it a little tug towards your face from the skyward position, making any more space between your thumb and index finger, even if it's just a sensation, not something you would actually see. Now use one hand to gently grasp the flesh between the thumb and index finger. And same thing, sort of massage in light circles. You might use your thumb on the palm side and kind of press in a clockwise direction in a circle, maybe about the size of a quarter or a 50-cent piece. You could try flipping your hand over so your thumb is on the back, and so your other fingertips are massaging the palm side. Just give that fleshy portion of your hand a little bit of love, kneading it like bread or dough. If you're someone who cooks, that might be a fun metaphor for you. Do the same thing on the other side of your palm. Just gently sort of pinch and massage that fleshy outer blade of your palm, kind of the piece that connects your wrist to that pinky edge, that pinky finger, that base knuckle. Let this be gentle, just noticing the meatier parts of your hand, maybe noticing the bones there on the edges. Switch sides as you're ready. Again, softly pinching the flesh between your thumb and index finger, that meaty part of your palm, maybe pressing your thumb into the palm side in soft little circles. Maybe notice if the temperature of your hands has changed. I think I mentioned my fingers were cold when we started, and I'm noticing now they're a little warmer, a little more blood flow going after stretching and moving, massaging. If you haven't, you can meet me here as you're ready and finish up with your hand massage on the other side, softly pinching that flesh underneath your pinky finger on the blade edge of that palm. Maybe down close to your wrist, making a few of those tiny circles, like a little nickel-sized circle, wherever feels good. Might be different for you than it is for me. If you rub your hands together, palm to palm again, creating a little bit of heat, just like we started out. Notice your breath. Maybe sigh out loud if you feel comfy in your space to do that. Maybe shake your hands like you're flinging water off of them, releasing any excess tension. I'll scoot back so you can see me a little bit better here in my skirt-like pants here. I'll invite you now to join me in a version of what is called half pigeon in your friendly neighborhood yoga studio. But we're going to do it from a seated position in a chair, or at least that's how I will demonstrate. But I'll invite you to sit on the floor if that feels good and accessible for you as well. So place both feet on the floor, adjust as you need to make that possible. If your chair can be adjusted in height, maybe make it a little taller or shorter. Make it fit you. Maybe set a cushion underneath you if you need a little more height. And begin to lift one foot. It doesn't matter which one. I'll start with my right foot and just bring your ankle to the top of your left knee. So everybody has different range of motion. This might be plenty of a stretch for you. This might not be super accessible. And if that's the case, you can scoot your left foot on the floor out away from you so that your knee comes a little closer to the floor and hopefully gives you a little more space. Also, your lifted knee may be up in the air like this, or you may find even as you sit here that it starts to softly fall to the side, and I'll invite you to allow it to do so. Do flex your toes of that lifted foot towards your shin to help protect your knee. And just sit with this for a moment. Notice how you feel. There might be some stretching kind of in the outside of your right hip underneath you in your seat. Take a deep breath. See if you think you could sit here for a few breaths. And if not, please adjust as needed. So as you sit here, I'll invite you to, while continuing to keep the toes flexed on that lifted foot, just bring both hands to your foot and maybe place your thumbs, your thumbprints at the base of your footprint, sort of where your heel creates a point and starts to meet with the musculature of the rest of your foot. And just make soft circles, maybe running those thumbs along the inner arch of your foot from heel towards the ball of your foot. And also on the outer blade of your foot from the heel to your pinky toe. And just explore, be kind of curious here about what feels good. You can alternate which hand is squeezing or let both squeeze at the same time. You can kind of squeeze with all of your fingers at one time, sort of getting the arch of your foot a hug. Or you can make small circles with your thumbprints, maybe moving along any little bone structures that you can feel running from heel towards toes. Notice your breath. Maybe take a nice deep inhale. Maybe sit a little taller. Notice how the outside of your hips feels in your seat. Hopefully not holding your breath or holding any tension. If you are, maybe find a way to make this pose a little softer, create a little more space, whether that's bringing your knee back towards center a bit, or checking in and flexing your toes again towards your shin. Or maybe finding a different spot on your foot that feels good to massage gently. I'll invite you to make some circles on the ball of your foot with your thumbs. And maybe pinch gently in between each of your toes, sort of where they're almost webbed. Imagine you're a duck and have webbing between your toes, and you can pinch right there at the base between one toe and the one next to it. And just see how that feels. Maybe squeeze the tips of each toe, kind of pressing on your toenail and your little toe prints with your fingertips. Maybe just placing one hand palm facing the bottom of your foot and just see what that feels like. Bring your other hand maybe to the top of your knee. And just notice the temperature there and see if this brings any softness to this stretch. So just add a sense of support. You can use your hands to lift that foot and give it a little help and release it towards the floor. And lower your knee in your seat as well. Place both feet on the floor again. Maybe take just a moment to notice how both hips feel in your seat. Maybe there's a little bit of warmth where you had felt a stretch on the outside of that hip. Take a deep breath. Exhale, maybe sigh out loud as you prepare to stretch the other side. When you're ready, lift your other knee, bringing your ankle to the top of your right knee now. Same thing, your range of motion might look different on this side than on the first. It's okay if your knee is much more towards the ceiling, or if it's able to fall a little farther towards the floor than the first one. It's okay for them to be a little different. Again, remember to flex your toes and pull them slightly towards your shin, just with the strength of that lifted leg to help protect your musculature in your knee as you're stretching. Think tall thoughts. Maybe imagine a string is tied to the top of your head, helping you sit a little taller in your chair. Maybe also imagine a string is tied behind you, directly behind your navel, sort of drawing you a little closer there in your lumbar to your chair, the back of your chair, having a little strength in your core to support your spine as you sit tall. As you're ready, I'll invite you to bring your now left foot, your lifted foot, into both hands and give it the same sweet treatment that you did on the other side, noticing if it has any different needs, maybe some tension or soreness that might appear on a toe you may have stubbed recently, or maybe if anything like that comes to mind, just pay attention to it and just give it a little extra love. You can make soft, small circles, maybe about the size of a quarter, with both thumbprints moving from your fleshy heel towards the ball of your foot, kind of massaging the inner arch of your foot and each individual toe knuckle, if that term resonates for you. And also gently pinch the outer blade of your foot Notice that there's kind of another arch there, not unlike the inner arch that we talk about in our shoes a lot. And maybe pinch the kind of imaginary webbing between each pair of toes. Maybe helping your toes spread out wide. Maybe giving your whole foot kind of a hug with both hands over the bridge of your foot. Maybe curling your toes or helping them flex a bit. Still keeping that kind of flexion from the top of your foot towards your shin. And whenever you're finished, you can bring your right hand to the bottom of your left lifted foot, connect your palm with the bottom of your footprint, and your left palm can come to the top of your lifted knee, wherever it is in space. All okay. Just notice that sensation of support. And whenever you're ready to come out of the stretch, you can help that foot and knee lift a bit. Release your foot towards the floor and just set your knee down. Plant both feet as though on railroad tracks directly underneath your knees, hopefully giving you a sense of stability. Take another deep, nourishing breath. Think tall thoughts as you do so. And exhale, let that go. Press all the stale air out. And I'll scoot back towards you one more time, kind of meet you as we close here together. Take another one of those nourishing breaths. Nice and deep and long. Imagine getting taller as you fill up. Maybe even reaching your arms out wide and up high. Stretching out your rib cage to create that much more space as you fill all the way up for the deepest, deepest breath so far. Sit a little taller, sip a little more air at the top. And exhale, let all of that effort go. Your hands can fall towards the floor, maybe resting in your lap. Press the air out like blowing out a candle. Press it out. Empty, empty, until you're truly ready to receive another breath. And let that one come naturally. Noticing if you have a sense of a fuller breath when you do let it come naturally, maybe than you did at the start. Maybe it's exactly the same. Whatever your breath looks like right now, try not to decide if it's good or bad. Just notice that it's happening. Continue breathing at your pace, and I'll invite you one more time to extend your arms out wide as though in a T to each side. And slowly bring your hands towards each other in front of you. This can be as slow as you'd like it to be. Your thumbs might point skyward, and it doesn't matter. Choose one hand to go over the top and continue to wrap them around any amount, stopping wherever your range of motion will bring you. And begin to bend your elbows whenever they're no longer coming closer together. Keep bending them, keep bending them. Bring your palms to rest on your shoulders. Maybe inchworm your fingers around a little closer to each other on your back until this is a nice tight squeeze. You might even shrug your shoulders towards your ears and really wrap yourself up in an embrace. Take a deep breath here. Let your ribs fill up, but continue to give yourself this sweet little squeeze. Even if you don't like hugs from other people, just see what it feels like to hold yourself this way. You can give yourself a few pats or kind of create a little warmth with the palms of your hands, rubbing them back and forth a bit. exhale if you haven't, and just squeeze yourself a little more. Just enjoy a little hug, little safe space for you. And let that go. Release your hands whenever you're ready. Maybe shake that imaginary water off of your fingertips once more, kind of releasing any extra tension. Then I'll invite you to rest your hands in your lap and reflect for just a moment on this time you've taken for yourself. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again on any day that suits your schedule. Hopefully some Friday will be a good day for you to join me at 3 o'clock Central Time. The recording will be available afterwards if that time doesn't suit you, and hopefully a resource you can return to as well. Meantime, let this video be exactly that, and return to it as many times as you'd like, and enjoy a little self-care. I'm Laren with Yellow Umbrella Yoga. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.